Hello student, welcome in this Rose Online project. Rose Online project is conducted by Rare Shikshan Sanstha, Satara, Sadguru Gadge Maharaj College, Karad. Myself, Miss Pawar SB from HM College, Karad. My subject is biology. So today we will again discuss the topic ecosystem and energy flow. Chapter number 14, that is ecosystem and energy flow. In previous lecture we can understand what is ecosystem, how ecosystem is formed from abiotic and biotic component, and what is the process of the ecological unit, that is productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycle. So today's this is the second lecture, topic ecosystem and energy flow. In this lecture we focus the term, that is what is decomposition, which step involved in the decomposition process, and which factors are responsible for the process of the decomposition. And next article in this lecture, that is what is energy flow, how energy transformed from sun to producers and from producers to consumers, that is the heterotrophic organism. Now see what is decomposition. Decomposers break down complex organic matter into inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and nutrient. This process is known as a decomposition. Decomposition, that is breaking of complex organic matter into simple soluble inorganic substances like carbon dioxide, water and nutrient by the activity of the decomposers. Decomposers play important role in the process of the decomposition. Dead remains of plants and animals, including fecal matter, constitute detritus, which is the raw material for decomposition. So, detritus is the raw material for decomposition, and it included dead remains of the plant, animal, and fecal matter, etc. Then see the steps of the decomposition. There are 5 steps of the decomposition. Step number first of the decomposition is known as a fragmentation. Second step of the decomposition is known as a leaching. Third step of the decomposition is known as a catabolism. Fourth step of the decomposition is known as a humification. And last step of the decomposition is known as a mineralization. So there are the 5 steps which involve in the process of the decomposition. First process is known as a fragmentation. Second process is known as a leaching. Third process is known as a catabolism. Fourth one is known as a humification, and last process is known as a mineralization. Now see the first step of the decomposition, that is fragmentation. It is the first step of the decomposition. Detritivorous animals, that is earthworm, break down detritus into the smaller fragments or a particle. This process is known as a fragmentation. What is fragmentation? Detritivorous break down detritus into the smaller fragment or a particle. This process is known as a fragmentation. So in the fragmentation process, detritivorous animals play important role, that is they break down detritus into the smaller fragment. Then the second process is known as a leaching. What is leaching? By the process of the leaching, water soluble inorganic nutrient go down or percolate into the soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salt. This process is known as a leaching. So by the process of the leaching, water soluble inorganic nutrient go down into the soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salt. Then the third process, this process is known as a catabolism. What is catabolism? Bacteria and fungi secrete enzymes, and these enzymes degrade detritus into a simple inorganic substance. This process is known as a catabolism. Bacterial and fungal enzymes degrade detritus into the simple inorganic substance. This process is known as a catabolism. It is important to note that all above steps in the decomposition operate simultaneously on the detritus. What is detritus? The raw material which are used for the process of the decomposition. And decomposition take place by the activity of the decomposers. And first step of the decomposition, that is fragmentation. Second step is known as a leaching. Third step is known as a catabolism. And in catabolism process, bacteria and fungi secrete various enzymes, and these enzymes degrade detritus into the simple inorganic substances. Then the fourth step of the decomposition, that is humidification, and last one, it is known as a mineralization. Humidification and mineralization occur during the decomposition in the soil. Now see the fourth step, that is the humidification. What is humidification? Humidification leads to accumulation of partially decomposed, a dark colored, amorphous and colloidal organic substance. It is known as a humus. What is humidification? Humidification leads to accumulation of a partially decomposed, a dark colored, amorphous colloidal organic substance. It is known as a humus. That is the resistant to microbial action and undergoes decomposition at any extremely slow rate. Humus formation changes soil texture and increases water holding capacity of the soil. Humus formation changes soil texture and increases water holding capacity of the soil. Then see the last step of the decomposition, that is mineralization. Being colloidal in nature, humus serve as the reservoir of the nutrient. Which is the reservoir of the nutrient? Humus serves as a reservoir of the nutrient. The humus is further degraded by some microbes, and releases of the inorganic nutrient occur by the process. It is known as a mineralization. What is mineralization? Humus degraded by the some microbes and release of the inorganic nutrient occurs by the process. This process is known as a mineralization. So first the process of the decomposition, that is the fragmentation, second leaching, third catabolism, fourth humidification, and last one is known as a mineralization. Decomposition as a process require oxygen. It is the important factor which affect on the decomposition process. Temperature and the soil moisture are the most important factor that regulate decomposition indirectly to help soil microbes. Now see the factors affecting on the decomposition. First factor is known as a soil temperature. Second factor is known as a warm and moist environment. pH, neutral pH and aerobic condition is also essential for the process of the decomposition. So, on the decomposition, which factors affect? First important factor, that is a temperature. How many temperature is required for the decomposition? That is 25 to 30 degrees Celsius temperature is required for the process of the decomposition. And warm and moist environmental condition is also favorable for the process of the decomposition. Neutral pH is required for the process of the nutrition. And aerobic condition, it is also important factor which affect on the process of the decomposition. Now see which are the inhibiting factor. Inhibiting factor, that is a preventing factor. Low temperature also inhibit the process of the decomposition, and anaerobic condition also inhibit the process of the decomposition. This is the important point for the MCQ. Then see the diagrammatic representation of the decomposition process. Decomposition process take place by 5 steps. First step, that is a fragmentation. Second step, it is known as a leaching. Third step is known as a mineralization. Third step, it is known as a catabolism, then humidification, and last one is known as a mineralization. In decomposition process, complex organic substances are breaking down into the simple inorganic substances by the activity of the decomposers. So, decomposing process is very important process. Then, see what is energy flow. Sun is only source of the energy for all ecosystem on the earth except for the deep sea ecosystem. Of the total incident solar radiation, less than 50% of it is photosynthetically active radiation. So it is known as a PAR. What is the long form of the PAR? Photosynthetically active radiation. Plant and photosynthetic bacteria, that is the autotrophic organism, picks energy to prepare food from simple inorganic material like the CO2 and water. Plant capture only 2 to 10% of the PAR, that is photosynthetically active radiation, and this small amount of the energy sustains the entire living world. So this is the important point for the MCQ. Plant capture only how many percentage of the PAR? That is 2 to 10% of the PAR, and this small amount of the energy sustain the entire living world. Therefore, it is very important to know how the solar energy captured by the plant and flows through different organism of an ecosystem. Different organism, that is from the sun, energy is transferred to the producer, and from producers energy is transformed to the consumers, and consumers are the two types, that is macro consumer and the micro consumer, and they also categorized into primary consumer, secondary consumer and the tertiary consumer. Directly or indirectly, all organisms are depend for their food on the producers. So producers prepare their own food material by using CO2 and water in presence of the sunlight and the chlorophyll pigment. So on the producers, heterotrophic organisms depend for their food requirement. Hence, there is the unidirectional flow of energy from sun to producer and then to the consumer. That is First, producers obtain energy from the sun, and from the producer, energy is transformed to the consumer. So, energy flow is a unidirectional. The direction cannot be reversed. Energy can be used only once in the ecosystem. Therefore, it is very important how solar energy is captured by plant through different organisms of an ecosystem. Now, the autotrophs need a constant supply of the energy to synthesize the molecule that they require. The autotrophs are known as a producers. In a terrestrial ecosystem, major producers are the herbaceous and the woody plant. Likewise, producers in aquatic ecosystem are the phytoplankton and algae. So, phytoplankton and algae are the examples of the producers which are present in the aquatic ecosystem. All animal directly and indirectly depend on plant for their food requirement. So they are known as a consumer or they are known as a heterotrophs. If they feed directly on the plant, they are called as a primary consumer. And if the animal eat other animal which eat plant, they are known as a secondary consumer. That is, the heterotrophic organisms are classified into primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. Okay. Now, the primary consumers are known as herbivores. That is, they are a plant eaters. Some common herbivores are insects. For example, grasshopper, aphids, birds, parrot, and some mammals. For example, sheep, cat, goat, donkey in the terrestrial ecosystem, and mollusca in the aquatic ecosystems, which are the primary consumers. The consumer that feed on these herbivores are known as a carnivorous. So carnivorous animals, it is also known as a secondary consumer. Those animals that depend on the primary carnivorous for food are known as a secondary carnivorous. Now see the diagrammatic representation of the energy flow. Firstly, from the sun, solar energy is absorbed by the green plant in presence of the chlorophyll pigment which are present in the leaf, and autotrophic organism, that is the producers utilizing CO2 and water in presence of the sunlight and chlorophyll pigment, and they prepare the food, and from the producers energy is transferred to the consumers, but most of the energy is lost in the form of the heat at the time of the energy flow. So from the sun, energy is transformed to the producers. Producers prepare own food material, and from the producers, energy is transformed to the consumers, and from the consumers, when plants, animals die, then the energy is transformed to the decomposers, and finally inorganic nutrient pool formation take place, and most of the energy is lost in the form of the heat. So energy flow take place from sun to producers, from producer to consumer, from consumer to decomposers, and finally inorganic nutrient pool formation take place. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the energy flow. Now see the trophic layer which are present in the ecosystem. There are 4 trophic level. First trophic level, second trophic level, third trophic level, and fourth trophic level. First trophic level, that is a photoautotrophs. Second trophic level, that is the herbivorous. Third trophic level, that is a carnivorous. and fourth trophic level, that is a top carnivorous. First trophic level, they are known as a primary producer. Second trophic level, primary consumers are present. Third trophic level, secondary consumers are present. In fourth tropical level, tertiary consumers are the present. Which are the examples of the primary producer? For example, phytoplankton, grasses, trees, etc. Primary consumers are, for example, zooplankton, grasshopper, and cow. Secondary consumers, for example, bird, fish, and wolf. And tertiary consumers, that is man and lion. So, this is the trophic levels which are present in the ecosystem. First trophic level, in first trophic level, phototrophs are present. In the second trophic level, herbivorous, that is a primary consumers are present. In third trophic level, secondary consumers, that is carnivorous, are present. In fourth trophic level, tertiary consumer, that is the top carnivorous organisms are present. An example of the phototrophs: phytoplankton, grasses, trees. Herbivorous example: zooplankton, grasshopper, and cow. And third trophic example: carnivorous organisms are present. For example, bird, fish, and wolf. And top carnivorous example, that is, for example, man and lion. So this is the representation of the energy flow, which consists of primary producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, and tertiary consumer. Now there are the several food chain and food web that exist in nature. Food chain are always straight and usually have 4 or a 5 trophic level. There are 3 type of the food chain. First, that is a grazing. Second, that is a detritus. And third, that is known as a parasitic. It, it is starting from the plants, that is a producers, which make food material, and food chain and food web are formed such that an animal feed on a plant or another animal in turn is a food for the another. Now, the energy trapped by the producer is either passed on to the consumer or remain trapped till the producer's organism dies. That is after the process of the decomposition. So energy is trapped by the producer, and from the producers energy is transformed to the consumers. Okay. Then death of organism is beginning of the detritus food chain or detritus food web. Now see how energy transferred. The transfer of energy from the source of the producers to the consumers form a food chain. That is, from producers, primary consumers are depend from the on the primary consumer, secondary consumers are depend, and on the secondary consumer, tertiary consumers are the depend. And in this way, food chain is a formed. There are first food chain, that is a grazing food chain. Second, it is known as a parasitic food chain, and third, it is known as a detritus food chain. How many types of the food chain? There are 3 types. First type is a grazing food chain. Second type is known as a parasitic food chain, and third type is known as a detritus food chain. Now see, the solar energy is captured by the plant, flows through the different organism of an ecosystem, that is the type of the consumer: primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer. Directly or indirectly, all organisms depends on the food for the process for their food requirement, and hence there is the unidirectional flow of energy from sun to producers and then to the consumers. The direction cannot be reversed. Energy can used only once in the ecosystem. What is energy? Energy can be defined as the capacity to perform work. Energy means capacity to perform work. Solar radiation is the primary source of energy for all organisms. which passes through the different tropic level. Producers absorb solar energy, and from producers energy is transferred to the consumers. Now, in the food chain or food web, there is a transfer of both the matter and energy in the living world. The transfer of energy is never 100%. At every tropic level, a considered amount of energy is released to the surrounding in the form of the heat. That is from the energy transformed from producers to the consumers. Most of the energy is lost in the form of the heat. The amount of energy available to next higher level is only 10%. This is important sentence for MCQ. The amount of energy available to the next higher level is only 10%. Energy transfer is unidirectional and it never turns to the sun. So this is the diagram of the energy pyramid. From the sun, energy is transformed to the primary producers, and from the producers, energy is transformed to the primary consumer. From primary consumer, energy is transformed to the secondary consumer. From secondary consumer, it is transformed to energy to third level of the consumer. In this way, from the sun, energy is transferred to the autotrophic organism, and from autotrophic organism, energy is again transferred to the heterotrophic organism, that is the consumer, that is primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. And when decomposition take place, the recycled nutrient also take place, and energy is lost in the form of the heat. So watch this diagram. First tropic level, second tropic level, third tropic level, fourth tropic level. In first tropic level, producers are the present. In the second tropic level, primary consumers are present. In the third tropic level, secondary consumer, and fourth tropic level, tertiary consumers are the present. And energy is transformed from sun to producers, from sun to producers, from producers to primary consumer, from primary consumer to the secondary consumer, from secondary consumer to the tertiary consumer, and loss of the energy in the form of the heat take place. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the energy flow. Now, every organism occupying a place in ecological community according to the source and method of obtaining its food. Organism occupy a specific place in the food chain, that is there is a tropic level. So producers belong to the first tropic level, herbivorous, that is primary consumer, to the second tropic level, and carnivorous, that is a secondary consumer, to the third tropic level. The amount of energy available decreases at each successive tropic level. The number of the tropic level in any food chain is restricted as the transfer of the energy flows 10%. 10% law, that is A.R. Lindermans 1942. Then the law states that only 10% of the energy is transferred to the each tropic level and net energy from the previous tropic level. So what is the law of Lindermans? This law states only 10% of the energy is transformed to the each tropic level as the net energy from the previous tropic level. In nature, it is possible to have different tropic level, that is a producer, herbivorous, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and ultimately they are a top carnivorous. Thank you for watching this lecture.